Maybe it's because I've been listening to the audiobook, but the spice, I was floored. I was flabbergasted. It's the way that I was fully and absolute 100% confident that I was going to Dina. And then we have the absolute most mic drop plot twist of like, whoa, of all time. We have a completed little project. Hello friends and welcome to my channel and welcome to this week's reading vlog in which we are going to be reading some series that I am in the middle of. I am coming to you from the future. I was about to say the past, definitely from the future. You get what I'm saying. To tell you about the books that I'm going to read because I have now in fact read them. So let's talk about the TBR. Where is the TBR? First and foremost, we will be picking up the newest installment in K.A. Lindy's, I don't know what the series is actually called, but the first book being The Wren and the Holly Library. I really like The Wren and the Holly Library, but I definitely was so excited for book 2 following the ending of this one, and here we are. It is time to pick up the next installment. I also last week finished The Lies of Lena, and I immediately dove into The Sense of Silas. I had some mixed feelings. We'll talk about it when we get there. And then we're also going to be finishing a series. So without further ado, let's read some fanro. Let's read a cowboy romance. Let's read some more fanro. And let's continue some series. Okay, while I was working on my reading journal, I managed to make it a big fat portion of the way through The Robin on the Oak Throne. I am currently at chapter 52. I listened to about like 30 to 45 minutes today at work, like not very substantially much at all. However, I'm actually really liking this book a lot. I do think that I actually like it more than The Wren and the Holly Library. I think that the plot and exactly where we're going is very entertaining. The way that folklore is kind of being incorporated here is adding some new, I don't know, like fun. Like we've got some expectations that are set for where these characters are gonna go, and it's kind of them like rebelling against things, we can say. I do think that the romance, the character development in general is starting to get very messy, and I'm surprisingly into it. I'm not someone who usually loves mess. This is not like fully mess, but it's definitely getting complicated, and I am enjoying the complications, what I can say. Maybe it's because I've been listening to the audiobook, but the spice, I'm very good in this book. I did kind of give a brief synopsis, summary, outline, whatever you want to call it, whenever I did my vlog where I went to the author signing for this book. So I'll give you a little bit of details here. This book takes place in essentially a war-torn New York City. We're kind of rebuilding from the monster war in which, surprise, surprise, there are monsters in this world. They all don't like each other, and there are now factions of people. We're kind of separated out. So now there's a treaty. Things are still very tense in between all of the various parties in this book, and we happen to meet someone who's kind of on the outskirts of a lot of parties, who happens to be running into somebody who's very much so on the ends of all the parties, and they go to parties. I think that the setting for this world is very interesting because it's urban. It's set in New York City, but at the same time, it's not set in our New York City, so there's a bit of a dissonance in between like our world and what like you would expect, this being urban, to what's actually happening in this world. Not necessarily modern, but city vibes. They're going to parties, they're meeting people, glitz, glamour. Post-war, everyone's flaunting their wealth, and we are running around trying to locate some items, and the people that have the items are very much so upper echelon of society, if you will. So Kira's, our main character, is a thief, and she's just kind of sneaking in, and she's honestly just running the place because she is that girl. These people are loaded, but like Kira says she's kind of good at what she does. So I'm really loving the plot. I'm loving the characters. I love the found family that is happening in this book, all the friendships that are happening. So good. But I also do think that book 2s, I'm starting to realize that book 2s in series is my favorite just because of the romance. Like we get to get the little like intro, and now we're really settling into it and really like defining DTR, but we're getting all the really good emotional moments while having some really fun physical moments, if you will. I do think that this is really more so a 4-star series to me so far. I'm not getting like 5-star, like I'm having fun, but I'm just not just gagged by it. I just flipped to a scene. But anyways, we are also getting some very interesting mental health representation, and we have a female character who's been through a lot, as like most main characters are. In order to get to a certain point, she's having to process things and process herself, and there's this kind of push for her to figure out her insides, and she's kind of like, but like I don't wanna. So her kind of rebelling against not necessarily getting help, but the fact that she needs help, it's been very interesting to read about. So I've actually made it to part 5 apparently, but I'm currently at chapter 52, which I think is this the last part, I'm unsure. I've done a really bad job about vlogging this book continuously, but I've definitely been having a good time. I've been too busy reading it to update you. Is my excuse right now. But I want to update you before I get much further, because I feel like the last half of this is really just gonna fly. Half? More like quarter. Okay, so I spent all day, it's currently Sunday, I'm manic cleaning my house, and the way that I needed to do that is completely a lot. Especially with Julymas, in which I was doing nothing but editing videos for a while, my house was just an absolute garbage pet. So I'm so glad that I feel like I have my life together in a little bit of ways. However, while I was cleaning, I did manage to finish The Robin on the Oak Throne. I am going to give this kind of, I think, a lower 4-star, but definitely still a 4-star. I really like this a lot. I think had I not been listening to the audiobook while like frantically cleaning around my house, it might have been better. But I do think that this was a good audiobook listen, just like, I was gonna say book 1, but then I also was gonna say the book title, and now my brain doesn't know what to do. What even is the title now? The Holly and the Red in the Holly Library. Good lord. Okay, so I did finish this. I do think a couple standouts for me, the romance. There's kind of a love triangle that emerges in book 1, and the love triangle continues to develop, but the one side of the relation, like one character and Kier's, I thought it was so good. And then things start to get messy. And I did enjoy the messy, but I think that the romance in itself, like Kay Lindy, she put her whole author Jessie in it. I don't know. She really did. And I thought it was really well done. I do think that also all of the character dynamics were really interesting to watch in this book. And I'm very much so intrigued, like yet again, with the plot and like where we're gonna go. I think that the way that she incorporates a lot of real world elements, given that this is an urban fantasy, and then she layers these folklore tales on top of them to create the story, I thought was really interesting. This is one of those lower 4 stars that I had a really good time and I did enjoy it a lot. I wouldn't necessarily like go out on my way to recommend it to people, but at the same time I did really like it. So I had fun. So we are now book 1 into this vlog. My current ebook read at the moment is The Sense of Silas, and I think I might DNF it. I think I'm at like 7%, and I'm at this point where I don't really care necessarily. Like, I want to know what the plot is going to be right now. Like, I'm very intrigued in the plot, but at the same time, the writing style, I don't know, there's just something about the writing style that I'm not completely driving with. So I might try to read that a little bit more and concretely decide to DNF it, and then once I DNF that or not, I'll officially start City of Souls and Sinners. But that's what we're up to at the moment. We're doing good. We're reading books. So what a great reading vlog so far. It's the way that I was fully and absolute 100% confident that I was going to DNF The Sense of Silas, and then I got to 100 pages in, 12%, and then we have the absolute most mic drop plot twist of like, whoa, of all time. And I am curious to see how that goes, but right before we got to the scene, I was thinking like, okay, listen, if somebody had just given me a plot summary, I think I would be okay with it. Like, this writing is just feeling very clinical, and I feel like I'm reading it very clinically because I'm not connected to these characters. So low-key, I think I'm gonna finish the current scene that we're in and then see where that leaves us, because it's so messy, and the plot is just like, I don't know, the plot is really wanting me to read it. It's the plot's fault. It's not my fault. But at the same time, I just don't like the writing. And I feel like if I were to switch to an audiobook version of this or something, that would be much better for me. But like, I want to know what's going on, but I also don't. So I'm having a moment, is all this is here to say. So I thought this was going to be a DNF update, and then my eyeballs kept moving for 2 seconds later, and then now it's no longer necessarily a DNF update. I don't know. Give me 20. We'll be back. Okay, update. I am still, in fact, going to be reading The Sense of Silas. Gosh dang it. I was kind of excited about the prospect of DNFing and getting to City of Souls and Sinners, which I still haven't gotten to. Anyways, we've had another, I have a theory, and I can't decide if I feel as if that theory is correct, or if I feel as if that theory is just me projecting something that I would really like to happen. We shall see where this goes. I feel like I've aged 87 years reading the series already. I hate this. There are so many really aggressively modern slang moments in this book. So objectively, I don't think as far, like, I don't love that, and I'm not loving that. I have not moved from the spot from for quite some time. I am at 48%. I'm at 373. Things have changed. I am shook. I quite literally like what just happened? I do think that I'm still not fully driving with the writing style, but the plot twists are coming, and it's kind of suckered me in. So I think while we were previously pondering a DNF, we're so back, and we're back to the point where I quite literally like slapped my hands across my face. I was so shocked. So yeah, that's happening. It is Monday evening currently, and it is Monday evening. What the freak just happened? Okay, friends, I've officially finished The Sins of Silas, and you guys saw me. I went through quite the realm of emotions. I went from, do I want to DNF this book, to, I don't know, to, ooh, this is interesting. Oh, wait, this is interesting. And then there was a little moment in the middle there where I was like, is this interesting? Am I down for that? No, I'm not down for that, but I'm down for that. Like, this book had just the absolute most mixed emotions pulled out of me that I could not tell which way was up, what was down. Do I don't like what is going on here? So ultimately I am settling on, I think that I like this, and I think it's just because I like where this is going. Maybe not necessarily where we started, and maybe not necessarily some of the minute details that happen in here, but where we're going is very exciting. I do think that a lot of the complaints that I even had from the first book got not necessarily resolved, but things are making sense, and I'm intrigued. I am very much so intrigued. There's no release date for book 3, naturally, and I do think that book 3 is what truly, I can't even say that because I said that about 2. I said that about book 2, and then I'm saying that about book 3 again is going to make that not happen again. But I do think that, like, I like this series, but I like it for where it's going and for what we're doing and the buildup that's occurring. And until I finally get to, I wish this was a completed series. I feel like once I get there is going to determine, like, do I like this or do I not? Because we could. You know what I'm saying? So overall, I don't necessarily recommend this book because there were some very specific complaints that I had. This book having a more, I don't know what the current editing process for this book has been so far. I'm clearly not the author, but had there been a little bit more editing, I think that legitimately this could be, but like the plot had me on the floor. Like, I would be intrigued, then I'd be like, I don't know, and then we get a plot twist, and then I'd be like, okay, plot twist. I couldn't even begin to critically think about how I was feeling in that moment because we were just getting a new bomb dropped, and I was floored. I was flabbergasted. So I am very glad that I read this book and I finished it, and I need to read something that is going to make me know how I feel, and that's something I hope will be Wrangled and Wrangled by Lila Sage. Okay, I got the audiobook whole from my library, so naturally I was like, okay, I've not read a single one of these via audio. Let's try it out. I like it a lot. I'm loving it. I'm actually having a much more surprising time than I thought I would. And I also, I generally very vocal about the fact that friends and or childhood friends to lovers is not my vibe. I'm kind of giddy at the moment. Let me figure out exactly how far the way through. I'm 31%. Am I only 31%? Really? Interesting. Reading the other books, I was not really all that into Dusty as a character. Like, I just wasn't intrigued by his character. Is it because his name is Dusty? Maybe. Fun fact, one of my old bosses' name was Dusty, and there might be some projection here. But also he was blonde, and I was kind of like, okay, whatever. No, sir. No, ma'am. I am really into him right now. And I do think that I like Cam as a character, but I've never really just, like, been obsessed with her because I don't feel like she has that kind of personality where you're just, like, instantly obsessed with her. And we also haven't known historically, like, all of this information about her. And now that we're actually getting into her POV, I'm like, oh, wait. wait a minute. I am so much more invested into this character, like even down to like little details. Like Dusty was talking about how she would just like eat a tomato like an apple, and like while I don't do that now, my mom's favorite story to tell about me like as a toddler was that when I was in the grocery store, I would just like take a little tomato and just like take a little snack. She also likes pickles. I like pickles. There was a cutesy little moment where they were talking about how like in a relationship there has to be, in order for balance to occur, there has to be a person that likes pickles and there has to be a person that doesn't like pickles. And Dusty doesn't like pickles, but she does. I'm like, ooh, so she is officially my girl. Anyways, and the fact that I was just clinging on to the fact that, oh, she likes pickles and also she likes tomatoes, like we're the same. The fact that I was like picking up these tiniest little details that were just like kind of not like intrinsic to her character, like and who she was as a person, but just like hee, that like suckered me in for some reason that I do not know why. And I'm really having a good time. So anyways, a little bit about these two characters. So Cam, government name of Camille, she is the baby mama basically to Gus's baby, who is one of the brothers of the sister who's the main character. So basically this is a big family, like we're all connected, right? So she is in this family by way of having a child with one of the men. They have a very aggressively healthy co-parenting relationship that's really cool to watch, and it was really cool to watch in Gus's story. Now being at the 4th book, we are waiting for Cam to find her man. Okay, she has found her man. She's currently engaged to a man, and then he stands her up at the altar. So like that's super fun and fresh. So she goes off and does the one thing that you do whenever you get set up at the altar, and she flees the scene, and she ends up going to the bar, the local tavern, and who's there? Dusty. And no, we don't know exactly why, and I'm curious to see if the reason that they ended up like cutting things off because they apparently had a childhood fling. I'm curious to see like if the reason for that is really going to work for me, because I feel like that is going to be what is going to make this book work for me or not, because right now it's working. That could tank it. Anyways, he doesn't like storm the castle and she immediately like flings into her arms. He just kind of like sits back and knows exactly what she needs, and the way that he kind of takes care of the situation and turns it on its head is really fun to watch. So we're getting to see them interact, but then we're also getting to see all of the other characters. Obviously, this is a big found family group. We're starting to get to watch everybody be happy, and that is something that I love about technically interconnected standalones, but I don't feel like they're standalones whatsoever. I do feel like series like this, where there's such a big found family element, they have to be read all in order. Things like Chestnut Springs, Windy City series. What else am I thinking of? I don't know, but this apparently, because this is going really well for me. So that is all at the moment. I am really curious to see, will this audiobook continue going well for me? At first, the narrators weren't just like my favorite narrators in the whole world, and I'm looking up to see like who the narrators are, but they have very much so grown on me over the last apparently 30%. So this is narrated by Connor Cray. I feel like I've listened to a book by him before, but I can't seem to find what it was exactly. He's narrating Wild Card by Elsie Silver. Is he gonna be the what is it, ex-boyfriend's dad? Okay, speaking of the Windy City series and Rewind It Back being the last book, he literally narrates Rewind It Back. The Fake Out Stephanie Archer, When Gracie Met the Grump, The Fall Risk. Okay. I was like, I knew that I had read this book, and he keeps reading all of these books that I didn't listen to the audiobook version of, but that I liked, but I didn't listen to the audiobook version of, but it was because The Fall Risk. Literally The Fall Risk. Broken Harbor by Catherine Cowles. A couple different Into the Tide by Laura Pavlov, a couple of different Laura Pavlovs. So basically, I'm surprisingly really into this narrator. Could he be a new favorite? I don't know, but he seems to be popping up all over my favorite books. Savannah Peachwood is the female narrator. She did Captive of the Wolves by Eva Chase, which I haven't read, but is definitely on the TBR. Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver, which I listened to all of maybe like 30 minutes up before I picked it up physically. But is that why she's familiar? She did Black Ties and White Lies. Change of Heart by Bailey Hannah. Behind the Net, Stephanie Archer. Reckless, Elsie Silver. Okay, I did not listen to Reckless. I want to reread the Chestnut Springs series like I need air. And I don't know why I'm suddenly just in a reread mood, because all I want to do is reread Crescent City, Red Rising, Throne of Glass. And the funny thing is that I read those all within the span of like 2 months. Those were the only things that I read for 2 months 2 years ago, and now I'm like, ooh, it's time. So could I just do a cheeky little reread? I don't know. Anyways, so all that to say, I'm enjoying the audiobook so far, and I will continue listening to the audiobook, and I hope for the best here today. Well, and however long it takes me to finish this book. Hee, that's all. Okay, thanks, bye. Okay, hi, me 2 seconds later, just to say that Libby's a liar. I'm actually 41%, which makes a lot more sense in my head, because I feel like I'm a lot further on. Anywho, I'm definitely at the point where we're starting to get, like, I feel like we've had a lot of setup so far, but we're starting to get into it. Anyways, that's all. Thanks so much, bye. We're getting some of the kid single parent moments in there. I love this trope so much. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean they share a birthstone? We're getting into the romance, friends. We're getting into the romance between the friends. Also, sidebar, Cam is a 0.5 pen kind of girl, and Cam is also a college rolled paper kind of girl. I am also a 0.5 pen and a college rolled paper kind of girl. Cam's my girl. She really is. She's just like me. Friends, we have a completed little project. I had absolutely so much fun doing this little painting. I don't know if you happen to remember, I don't remember exactly when, a couple of months ago we did the Fourth Wing Painting with a Twist class situation, and they had another one for Sarah J. Maas book. So they had the 3 options between Crescent City, Ektar, Throne of Glass. I actually, surprisingly, I really wanted to pick the Throne of Glass one, but there was a deer, and the deer looked kind of hard. This one looked to be the easiest, so I went with the easiest option. And I did not end up writing the, this one was supposed to say the Night Court, like, so it's supposed to be a postcard stamp, and it was supposed to say the Night Court, and I just decided to leave it generic as cutesy little fantasy painting. So I need to designate a wall in my house somewhere for all of the cutesy little crafty things that I have been doing lately. I ended up doing this with the same book club that did the Fourth Wing painting, so it was fun to just, like, because we had all painted before together, we all kind of, like, I don't know, it was a lot less, like, stressful this time around, I think, because we weren't, like, trying to be good. We were all just kind of like, yeah, this is fun, and it ended up being a very good time. So I did complete this. Anyways, I did, however, on the way home, I managed to finish the audiobook for. I feel very, sorry if you can hear Oliver chomping away on his rawhide. I don't have the heart to take away his pride and joy. Anyways, Wild and Wrangled. I like this. I'm gonna give this a 4-star. I don't think that this series overall has just been like absolute perfection 5-star for me, but it's very fun. Like this gives contemporary romance to me in like the short, sweet, silly, goofy, short, sweet capacity. Like it's not something that's gonna really full send make you cry necessarily on every single book. I feel like there are 2 types of romance books. There are the ones that, well, I mean, there's multiple types, but I'm talking about like the general contemporary, right? There's the kind that's like silly, goofy, but then it does get kind of emo, but then you're like, oh, it was cutesy, and then you shut the page and you move on. It was kind of shorter page length, great, cool, whatever. And then the other kinds that are a little bit chunkier, that are emo, that just like make you want to cry. This is the former. It was very sweet, silly, goofy. I loved so many of the little moments here and there. I loved, actually, I was trying to think, like comparing this couple to the other couples in the Rebel Ranch series, I don't know. Low key, this might actually be my I don't know. But what I do know is that I think this is actually my favorite childhood friends to lovers, childhood lovers to lovers again. I don't know why this worked well. It worked so well for me, and I'm kind of confused by it because this is not a trope that I typically enjoy. And the fact that this was going to be the last book in the series also kind of made me nervous. And I think because I had my expectations really low, and not that I had them low because I've really liked every book in this series so far. I've not just had an absolute 5-star. They've all been just like pretty like solid 4 stars for me. So I was kind of like, I don't know, this could either be just like the exact same or it could really not work for me, and that's that. And it actually ended up working out really pretty well for me, which I will take. I was also a little not nervous, but like a little confused because with this being the last book in the series, I was like, where's the emo? Like, are we not gonna have a little kumbaya moment with all the characters together? Like, are we just gonna like end it with their story and then that's it and we're done? Like, where's the big conclusion? And then I got to the acknowledgements and I was like, so is this book really done? Like, are we not gonna go? And then if I would have just like kept listening, the fact that they had this after the acknowledgements and not before was a little weird to me. But there was a big epilogue at the end where it came very full circle, and I actually did get a little bit of emo. I think in my head, because this is a cowboy romance, I intrinsically want to compare it to Chestnut Springs, but this is not this, it's not the same. They're very different vibes. I do still think that I like Chestnut Springs better, but for what this is, I do really, I had a good time. I do think that this is the prettiest cover of all the books in this series, and if I like legitimately had to pick a favorite one, part of me wonders if it is because this is the one that I most recently read that I like this more. But low key, I'm kind of like, but do I like Ted? I think I ultimately like Teddy and Gus's story better, but like Wes and Ada's really, I feel like there are very specific moments from Wes and Ada's book that I remember so vividly, and then I don't really remember so much about Teddy and Gus other than the fact that I like the characters. And in this book, I also feel like I just read it and I don't remember very specific moments, but I do like the 2 characters. But like, no, that's a lie. I do remember specific moments. They just weren't like funny. This was very much so more emo and like It's Always Been You vibes versus like bantery relationship status. Anyways, that's all. I just wanted to update you that I did in fact finish this book. I have finished this series. I think that all of my ratings for the series does kind of average out to be a 4-star, so I definitely have enjoyed the series. I didn't get a 5-star out of it, but I did have fun with it. So it is time to pick our next series to complete, and I don't want to do it now, so the next clip we're gonna cut to me picking the next series. I don't know what I want to read. I am kind of just vibing along at the moment, and I don't want to pick anything. So cut to future me in which I am living in a world in which I am reading something new. So absolutely just kidding on what I'm going to read next in this vlog, because I have no concept of time and did in fact not realize that we had already read the 3 books for this vlog. So we have actually made it to the end of this video. If you have made it this far and you wanted to let me know that you were here, go ahead and leave an orange emoji. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night wherever you are, and I will catch you in the next one.